This is the Hardy Averon Euro fly reel, and it's Hardy's first ever Euro Nymphing specific reel. And today I'm going to unbox and review it. The Averon replaces the popular Ultra Disc in the Hardy lineup. It is their modern, large arbor fly reel that is sort of a crossover freshwater saltwater reel, but by and large, it's going to be their freshwater high performance reel. For 2024, they decided to add a model, and that is this one here. It is the Averon Euro, and it only comes in one size, the 5,000 size. And as you'll see, it has some fairly interesting features that differentiate it from the standard Averon, which is these two here. Let's start by unboxing this Averon Euro and seeing what it comes with. We've got a really nice Hardy pouch here. I've always liked the Hardy pouches. They fit around a rod, they protect the reel well. And inside, we've got our Averon Euro reel. And if you're looking at the other Averon reels here, you can tell that this is basically the same size, but it has this big green thing in the middle. And that's going to be the weight system, but I'll get to that in a minute. We also get this nice pouch here, and this contains the other weights, as well as an Allen wrench to change it and a couple of spare screws. So we've got a 1.2 ounce weight that comes on the reel, a 1.8 ounce weight that you can add, as well as a lighter 0.6 ounce weight. Interesting choice by Hardy to go in 0.6 increments rather than 0.5 like you might expect. Needless to say, these are how you're going to adjust your weights for that Euro Nymphing system. And of course, we've also got a nice Averon Euro manual here, which will tell you how to change those weights and how to register your reel and how to reel with it, probably. So like I said, this reel is a lot like the standard Averon. It has fairly few differences. The main one being that it is a full cage reel. So if you take that spool off, you can see that we've got a full cage, and that's going to help you when fishing those thin Euro running lines and super long leaders. It's not going to slip between the frame because you've got that full cage. So that's a great feature. And of course, the real feature here is the weight system. And well, let's show you how we take that apart. So to change this weight here, we're going to unscrew these three screws. It's important to note that these are loose and they will be lost if you try this on the water or on the grass or in any location that isn't that secure. And I'm guessing that's probably the reason why Hardy includes a set of spares. Undo those three and the weight comes right off. And in fact, you can actually use this reel without any weights at all. And so once you've removed that 1.2 ounce weight, you've got a reel that functions like an ultra lightweight Euro reel. You've still got that full cage, and as long as you don't mind these three little screw holes, you've got a reel that will work perfectly well for those Euro Nymphing situations with that full cage, and this is the lightest configuration of the Averon. Now that we've shown you that weight system, let's dive into the rest of the features of this reel by going through our 5 factors, starting with the drag. And the drag on this reel is pretty solid. It is a very freshwater oriented drag, so you're not getting tons and tons of drag pressure. When you crank it all the way down, at least as far as one reasonably can, you're probably getting somewhere in the 2-ish, maybe 3-ish pounds of drag. Of course, I didn't take a wrench to it. I just tightened it as far as I really could and probably as far as I would ever do on the water. So if you really cranked it down, you could probably get a little more out of it. It also has about 1.25 turns of adjustability, which is not that much. This is basically a single turn drag when it comes down to it. And I do wish you had a little bit more adjustability, but because this reel does not have very much drag, it also seems a little bit silly to have lots of adjustability to get up to 2 pounds. The good news is that adjustment is somewhat linear, so while you can't adjust as much as some would like, it does work throughout that range. And as you might expect for a freshwater-oriented reel, the drag is not sealed, so we don't recommend this reel for saltwater use. And if you do like to Euro nymph in the salt, maybe really thoroughly wash it out or use a different reel. All in all, the drag is fine for a trout reel, which is what this is. So let's move on to the spool. And the spool on this is pretty good. It is definitely a modern large arbor. We've got a max spool diameter of 3.7 inches, a really nice narrow width of about 0.88 inches, and a really pretty large arbor of about 2.93 inches. And you'll note that arbor size is actually larger than the standard Averon 5000. So while these spools can in fact be interchanged, it's that arbor size that is different. And what that really means is, since you're not putting any fly line on this Euro reel, you are going to get much more pickup. And that's yet another Euro-specific design feature that Hardy has put into this reel. You're getting that bigger arbor that is just better for Euro nymphing. They had the option to keep that same arbor size, and instead they chose to produce an entirely new spool that is better for Euro nymphing. In terms of retrieval rate, this Euro reel is going to be a little bit faster than the standard Averon. It's going to pick up line at 9.7 inches per turn, or roughly 120 turns for that 100-foot fly line. And that is quite a fast pickup. And if you're a competition Euro guy, you're going to appreciate that, because that's really one of the things that you can really use in competition. When you're Euro nymphing, there's not fly line laying around, you're not having a lot of slack, so fish get on the reel really quickly. And that's where that added retrieval rate is going to be a big bonus for you. Additionally, this reel does not hold very much backing, so you won't have to stuff a bunch of backing for those trout that are never going to show it to you. We calculated it at about 65 yards of backing with a weight forward 5-weight, but of course, this being a Euro reel, it doesn't really need a 5-weight, even though it is the 5-weight sized 5000 Averon. So you could probably fit 100 yards or so with that ultra-thin Phipps Euro line. Up next is the weight, and of course the weight is variable on this reel. But this base reel in the 0-weight configuration that I've shown you here weighs 4.6 ounces, which is just a touch heavier than the standard Averon. You'll of course be able to adjust that weight with these interchangeable discs to 5.2, 5.8, and 6.4 ounces. And I didn't measure the screws, so it's probably slightly higher than that. But that's going to give you a really good idea of how this reel is going to balance on those rods. Before we continue, I wanted to let you know about Trident Travel, our new destination travel service where you'll get our expert planning and guidance at no additional cost. That means no credit card fees, no booking fees, and for a limited time, you'll even earn Trident rewards on your travel bookings. So for every trip you book, you'll be earning valuable points that you can use towards free tackle here at Trident. Recently, we've had some clients go on some absolutely fantastic trips, like bone fishing in Belize, trout fishing in Colorado, and Arctic char fishing in Iceland. So if you're thinking about taking a fly fishing trip, Trident Travel is the way to do it. We've got a ton of great destinations, excellent service, and even more destinations being added every month. Check us out at tridentflyfishing.com/travel. Next up is the sound, and well, let's take a listen. I think the sound on this reel is great. While it's not super loud like a Hardy Perfect, I think they've done a really nice job of differentiating the incoming and the outgoing, and all in all, this reel sounds pretty good, and I think you'll enjoy it. And last but not least are the ergonomics, and I think the ergonomics on this Hardy Averon Euro are also pretty good. The drag knob is totally fine. It's not massive, not the easiest to adjust in the world, but it is adequate. It's definitely got enough surface area that you can actually grab it, you can turn it, you can lock it down. On the handle side, this handle is also sort of moderately sized by today's standards, but it is perfectly adequate. You're not left wanting more. And of course, should you want to fish this with other line weights, say keep a 3-weight floating line, you can easily switch out the spool here. It just pops right off like you might expect. All in all, these are fairly standard ergonomic features for modern fly reels today. And that leaves us with the price, which interestingly is the lowest priced reel in the Averon lineup at $395. And that is a lot, but if you are a competition Euro guy and you need that adjustability, this gives it to you, and it does so in a really pretty good package. However, if you're not competing and you don't really need this exact reel, you could save yourself money by buying a cheaper reel that already has the weight that you're looking for. Let's face it, adjustability is the key thing here. But if you're only using this reel on one rod, which is what I suspect 99% of us will be doing, you don't actually need to adjust it. And because it's not on the fly adjustable, at least not reasonably so, I think the weights are a little bit of a gimmick. They're a way to keep a reel looking the same while giving you the ability to change it. And I suppose it does give you some future-proof ability so that if you buy a 15-foot Euro rod that somebody makes down the line, this might still work for it. But that said, I think you'd honestly be better off removing the weights, using that down-locking reel seat, just having an ultralight setup. That's what I would do. Tell me what you think about this new Hardy Averon Euro by leaving us a comment in the box below. And if you want to know what we think about the Averon, make sure you subscribe to our channel because you'll get notified whenever a new reel review comes out. And of course, if you've got questions about this reel or any reel in the Hardy lineup, give us a call at 888-413-5211 or email us 24/7 at support@tridentflyfishing.com. I'm Ben. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.